Dear students, this class is on developmental psychology. You are going to know what is developmental psychology and what do developmental psychologists actually studies about. Now let us look at the definition of developmental psychology. It is the study of human development over the entire lifespan, that is from conception to old age and death. And it means it is much more than the things we see about the development, uh, and it's about the underlying processes, the interaction of the environment, the influence of the environment, and some of the stages are very, very meaningful, like the childhood stage, the adolescent stage, which is characterized by a lot of changes. And it is also a study of the factors that influence the development. Again, there are some more definitions. Developmental psychology studies the changes across the lifespan, from conception to death, and the different areas of development are included: physical, cognitive, social, intellectual, perceptual, personality, and emotional. It is essential to understand how humans learn, mature, and adapt. Throughout their lives, human beings they go through various stages, and developmental psychologists they look at growth and development and how people adapt to these different stages. It is a knowledge of the pattern of the human development, how children usually develop and what are the milestones at every age, what is expected of their development in the different areas, and the underlying processes, maturation, growth, and aging, differentiation, the complexities of growth and development, the socialization process, and as well as the interaction between various processes. Developmental trends related to maturation are proximodistal and cephalocaudal. These are said to be the two laws of development, and sometimes they are called the two principles of development. The proximodistal means it describes a path of development that is more general functions. Like the first, the baby uses the hand, then only the baby uses the tip of the fingers. At first, the baby moves his whole trunk, but later on, the baby is able to move specifically the hands, the arms, or the legs. Then the next law is the cephalocaudal, uh, which helps the infants to use the upper limbs before they can use the lower limbs. Now, the different goals of developmental psychology. Why psychologists they learn about all these different aspects? Because it enables to guide the child if the child is deviating from the path, and parents and teachers uh, can be guided in the development of the child. A baby who's able to learn to walk must be given the must be given the opportunities, as well as lot of opportunities should be given for language development and for the changes that take place in the body's interest and behavior. Nature and nurture, these are the two other aspects that are taken into account. The biological processes, and which influences the body size, body proportion, appearance, brain development, motor development, and perception capacities, physical health. Then cognitive processes, that is the thinking, the thought processes, intelligence, learning, memory, problem solving, and other mental processes. And as well as the socialization, relationship with other peoples in the environment, all these are taken into account. Now, growth and development, we have to know these two terms. Though they mean, sometimes they try to mean the same, but there is a subtle difference, and many times these two words are used interchangeably. Growth refers to quantitative changes like increases in size and structure, uh, and not only does the child becomes larger physically, but the size and structure of the internal organs and the brain increase. As a result of the growth of the brain, the child has a greater capacity for learning and for remembering, and to use his capacities to the fullest extent. Now, early foundations are very, very important. And there are a lot of studies which shows the impact of early foundations on later development, and environment and heredity. These two factors affect the development of the child, and the influence of the home on the early foundations, the impact of the impact of socialization, and the interaction with the peer group, all these are taken into account. Early foundations are very, very important, as I said already. And as the children grow older, they can be directed and channelized for good adjustment. And since early foundations develop into habitual patterns, they have a lifelong influence on children's personal and social adjustment. And early foundations also shape the attitudes and behaviors of the children, and in the growth process, these attitudes, behaviors that are has the foundation in early childhood will have lot of influence in the future life. And sometimes the most interesting thing or the most important thing is that the behaviors which are not desirable can be guided through guidance and counseling. The behaviors can be changed for the better. Now, lifespan development, uh, it has different areas like physical, mental, emotional, social. These all different areas are studied. And the five perspective of developmental psychology is the multi-directional, um, which is also called the butterfly effect. One small action or events set off a much larger chain of major events. So it is a very, very holistic and multi-directional in nature. Then multi-contextual, like our development is affected by our historical events of the past, the economic conditions, say at present, the pandemic, the economic condition is being affected so much, our culture where we are born, our race, our gender, then our age and socioeconomic status. Then multicultural, uh, it implies that we have separate values, tradition, living standard, which influence our life as an individual in the society. Then multidisciplinary. It is related to biology, sociology, psychology, education, and so many other subjects. And plasticity. It occurs throughout the lifespan and can be drastically altered at any point in time. If the child, as the child grows through, in every stage, the child can be given direction, and the child can, behavior can be changed for the better. Now, factors affecting development. There are internal factors as well as external factors which are mentioned in this slide. Thank you.